Hey, what's up guys, over here. So given the current climate, I can't think of a worse combination right now than Star Wars and Ubisoft. Right now, Star Wars is reeling from a very disappointing release of Star Wars The Acolyte, and now, of course, the recent release of Star Wars Outlaws, which is a Ubisoft product, and Ubisoft has been having an extremely difficult year, another disappointment, and now investors are wondering, what are you going to do to fix this problem? Because Star Wars Outlaws is looking very, very rough. And now to give you a bit of a roadmap of where we're going in this video, things have gotten so bad with Ubisoft and Star Wars Outlaws that investors of Ubisoft have come forward and demanded a course change, including the firing of the current CEO. So this is some pretty big stuff. And really going into this year, they banked on these two games succeeding. They're two major AAA releases, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and of course, Star Wars Outlaws. They really tried their best to convince their shareholders these games would be a major success and would turn around this company from a very disappointing 2023 in terms of financials. And right out of the gate, Star Wars Outlaws has been an absolute disaster. All of the early reviews and sneak peeks were dislike bombed into oblivion for the low quality of the gameplay. On top of that, even the early release was messed up, where people paid at least $110 for 3 days early access, which was then wiped upon release due to some bugs in the game, which was a huge mess and bad look for the company. But don't worry, Ubisoft provided some compensation in the form of some in-game trinkets, so I'm sure players were just happy with that. And based on some of those results and the timing of the release of this game, a lot of the forecasts for Ubisoft and this game were looking really bad, including some experts now forecasting the sales of this game, reducing it from 8 million to now 5 million copies. And when it actually came out, Star Wars Outlaws, it proved it did not learn anything from the early reactions to the various reviews, because the gameplay is just laughably bad. So combining all of those factors, I don't think it surprises you that the Ubisoft stock price has dropped 7 additional percent as people look at the very bad performance of Star Wars Outlaws sales. And if you look at the actual graph here, I mean, it is brutal. Looking at the current position, their stock is at a low, an all-time low for the past 10 years. And it had a big drop-off during the release of this game. You don't see that with a major AAA release featuring a beloved IP. You expect the stock to rise as a result. Instead, here it has taken a big tumble, and that is very concerning. In fact, some people are looking at the early data here, where this is a smaller sample size with the United Kingdom, but people are looking at the sales of Star Wars Outlaws and claiming that the launch sales are 55% lower than what Star Wars Jedi Survivor did, which is, again, a small sample, but seems representative of the greater picture, because the sales just don't look good from many different angles here. And on top of that, we get even more headlines. So Star Wars Outlaws creative director tries to spin disastrous launch, saying millions of people are going to play for years and years. The copium and damage control has already begun. So yeah, they are literally saying they're going to have to kick us out the door because they are so excited about so many massive and exciting changes and evolutions this game is going to take after launch. However, you can see this looks like a lot of copium coming from the creative director, Julian Garrity here. So he says, I'm a little disappointed with the Metacritic, where the game currently holds a 76 out of 100 critic score and a 5.4 out of 10 user score. Recognition from critics is very important to us, but I do think players are really connecting with what we did, the Ubisoft dev told Games Radar Josh West during a recent post-launch interview. We had a very ambitious target. We literally reached for the stars. And I think that we were successful from so many different angles. There was a magical, unique experience within Outlaws, whether it's Star Wars or not. On top of that, they continue saying, I think Outlaws has such long legs that this will be a game that millions of people are going to play for years and years, and we're never going to stop improving it, he then declared before laughing. Well, okay, that's a lie. We'll probably stop improving it eventually, but today, my mind is not on stopping. So very, very excited response from this individual, really painting a picture that this game is going to be making millions and millions for years to come. However, that is not the perceived reality here, because we have some more headlines here, a lot of headlines to go over from the past couple of days involving these parties. You can read this. This is pretty damning to say the least. Investment firm calls for Ubisoft to be taken private after Star Wars Outlaws tanks stock. Shareholders are hostages of the Guillemot family members and Tencent, who takes advantage of them. And this is the actual document here listing out a group of demands and requests for the future of Ubisoft under the threat of some serious movement here. So it says, dear members of the board, dear fellow shareholders, as a significant minority shareholder in Ubisoft Entertainment via AJ Investments and our partners, we are writing to express our deep satisfaction with the current performance and strategic direction of the company. The recent quarterly results, which included the postponement of key games like Rainbow Six Siege and The Division into the 2025 lineup, and a lowered revenue outlook for quarter 2 of 2024, have heightened our concerns about the management's ability to deliver value to shareholders over the long term. Share price of Ubisoft has decreased by more than 40% over the last year compared to rise of its competitors and indexes. And this letter consists of the following points. Take Ubisoft private or allow it to sell to a strategic investor. So right here, they talk about how they think the Ubisoft stock is a very low valuation right now, and they're concerned about the future of the company and the current management, and their proposals look like this. So number one, allow take private process by PE firms or the Guillemot family plus Tencent at a fair price. Allow sales process, as we are in discussion with investors to fight against the Guillemot family with so-called proxy fight at extraordinary shareholder meeting. Change the current management, start hiring process of a new CEO who will optimize the cost and studio structure for more agile and competitive company as Ubisoft should be. We will use the French minority law to collect enough shareholders to start proxy fight and initiate sale process of Ubisoft to increase shareholder value for all shareholders. This is a very big request, a complete change of course here, where they are saying either take this company private or begin the process of voluntarily selling the company, or fire the current CEO, which is a very big thing. And if these things aren't met, these individuals will use French minority law to collect enough shareholders to basically initiate the sale process of Ubisoft. This is a very serious situation for them, and really, I don't know how they're not terrified right now. If you're Ubisoft, this is really bad. They don't have anything right now to really bolster any confidence in their shareholders, because it's been disaster after disaster, and a lot of people don't realize how bad of a year 2023 was for Ubisoft. They lost a net of, I believe, $400 or $500 million. They're already reeling off of a very bad year, and 2024 is not looking any better. But continuing on, looking at the actual gameplay itself, I think even games journalists are starting to realize how over this is, and I think this article in particular from The Gamer of all people is really funny. So a lot of people have criticized the appearance of Kay in the game. They think that her face doesn't represent the real-life model she's based on. It's a downgrade and a very sloppy rendition here. But they admit here, the chuds are right. Kay Vess does look weird. It's not for the reasons they tell you, though, and goes on to say it's technical limitations and issues. It's a bunch of coping, but they're even starting to admit that some of the concerns that gamers are sharing about Star Wars Outlaws might actually be true. But speaking of this actress that this character is based on, so here's another headline. Star Wars Outlaws lead actress claims the video game industry tends to have a lot of limitations and misogyny and kind of in and out politics of who can be a part of it and who you want to play as. And that's an actual quote from Gonzalez, who is the actress behind Kay. And they say this: yes, to be a leading woman, not just in Star Wars story, but in the video game industry, which tends to have a lot of limitations and misogyny and kind of in and out politics of who can be a part of it and who you want to play as. So not really good optics, where once again they're trying to make this about misogyny. Meanwhile, this individual is representing a character who is the main character of a AAA, maybe even quadruple A release based on its price. And also in Ubisoft alone, they also are releasing Assassin's Creed Shadows, which, you know, everyone focuses on Yasuke, but he's only one of two main characters, and the other main character is also female. So, and looking around the industry, there's a lot of main characters who are female currently. But yeah, raising this stuff right now is probably not the best optics for Ubisoft and Star Wars Outlaws. I don't think people want to be injected with this stuff right now. They just want to focus on the game, and they really should be focusing on improving the game and the issues that exist within it right now. But always with Ubisoft, hey, Star Wars Outlaws isn't going good, but hey, at least they got Assassin's Creed Shadows around the corner, am I right? Yeah. This is going to be a disaster. It's not going to help them. This is a desperate ploy to try to keep the investors happy when we know this is not going to perform anywhere near expectations. The glimpses we've seen contain a lot of in-game issues and things like that with the story, which is reflective of Star Wars Outlaws. But unlike Star Wars Outlaws, there's a lot of bad blood among gamers with Assassin's Creed Shadows. They have done a very bad job at getting any goodwill, and that has to do with the twisting of Japanese history, the insults, the scams with the merchandise. All those things have really rubbed people the wrong way, potential customers who are looking at this and saying, not only is this game looking pretty messy from a gameplay standpoint, but I just don't support what they're trying to do with this story and the creative direction of Ubisoft in this case. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. Another terrible update about Ubisoft and one of their games, but that's pretty much expected at this point on a weekly basis. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.